"Honey, it's our wedding night. How about we freshen up and turn in early?" I asked, trying to sound respectful while staring at my wife, my literal goddess still in her pure white wedding dress. She shook her head. "My spiritual guru said I need to be celibate for 2 years. It's the only way to guarantee our future success." "What kind of guru says that? Is this guy in the business of destroying people's happiness?" And it hit me, if I couldn't have her, maybe I could at least have her money. I turned to where she was already packing a suitcase.
"You can go,"
I told her, "but the card stays. My Ice Queen wife, Bianca." For a second, I almost called her by the name of an anime character I was obsessed with. She really did look like she'd been pulled straight from a drawing. But deep down, my heart still belonged to the 2D world. She tossed a black card onto the table without a word and walked out the door. 2 years later, I got a text from my best friend Leo. "Get to the gym, dude. There's a girl here with a body that will reset your circuits." I fired up the supercar I'd bought with that black card and sped over. Thanks to my ruggedly handsome face and the survival skill of being able to handle a Ferrari with one hand, I managed to get her number and add her on iMessage, watching everyone else sweat through their workouts. I felt completely out of place. I gave the girl a little wave with my phone. "Should hang out sometime. My wife's been dead for 2 years, so now I'm incredibly strong." That night, I got home late and found the lights still on. From the master bathroom, I heard the faint sound of running water. What the hell? I thought the security in this high-end condo was supposed to be top-notch. Did I just get robbed? No. What kind of thief breaks in just to take a shower? I was debating whether to call 911 or kick the door in when it suddenly swung open. Steam poured out. Through the haze, I saw a figure in a towel step out like a goddess emerging from the mist as the fog cleared. My eyes focused. Holy hell, it was the girl from the gym? Was she following me home? Was she here to verify how strong I really was? Possibly. I replayed our earlier conversation in my head. I had told her my wife died 2 years ago, and that I was very strong now. She'd looked shocked and even asked, "Your wife has really been gone for 2 years?" I had nodded like a bobblehead on a bumpy road. I remembered the first time I ever saw Bianca. I swore I'd make her mine. Through some strange twist of fate, our families arranged a merger marriage. On our wedding night, I was excited, ready to really get to know my beautiful wife. But Bianca just gave me a cold look and locked herself in the bedroom. Came out, she had changed into a simple dress and was pulling a suitcase. "I consulted a spiritual guru," she said. "We need to be celibate for 2 years after the wedding to ensure prosperity." I didn't buy that for a second. You couldn't fool a 3-year-old with that line. Either she had someone else, or she just wasn't into guys. Looking at her icy, distant expression, I knew I couldn't make her stay. But I sure as hell was going to keep the money. Before she left, I said coldly, "You can go. The black card stays." Staring at the unforgiving centurion card on the coffee table, I tearfully accepted the burden of spending her money single-handedly boosting the national GDP. For breakfast, I bought 2 coffees, 1 to drink, 1 to pour out. I became a top-tier supporter on TikTok Live, showering streamers with gifts. I took different influencers out to dinners and clubs every night, in my rare, quiet moments. I sometimes thought, I can't keep living like this. What if Bianca checks my spending history? I'd be toast. But in 2 years, she hadn't contacted me once, so I figured I was safe. "Ethan, sweetie, 3 lions, and I'll do a special dance for you." Looking at the girl's Balenciaga top with its bold lettering, I silently sent 5. Research, obviously. I needed to study how the letters distorted and reflected light during her movements, even though it was burning through money like it was on fire. The balance on the card just kept going up. It was a real dilemma. But back to the present. The gym hottie Musto followed me home. Probably impressed by my one-handed Ferrari skills and wanting some private driving lessons, I frowned, trying to look serious. "Are you stalking me?" She stood there with her arms crossed, completely unmoved. I sighed dramatically. "My wife gave me this money on one condition, that I behave myself." I shook my head in fake despair. I have to be honest. My wife is still alive, so tonight is probably not happening. A small smile tugged at the corners of her lips. Is there any chance that I'm your wife? I threw my hands up like some over-the-top TV lawyer. Impossible. It's absolutely impossible. You think I wouldn't recognize my own wife? I pulled out my phone, scrolled to her contact, and hit dial. The last call had been 2 years ago. A second later, a phone on the coffee table started ringing. She picked it up casually and turned the screen toward me. I froze when I saw the familiar number. Awkwardly, I hung up. So what are you doing back? Bianca's eyes had a playful glint. I heard you're incredibly strong now. I didn't come back. Someone else might have stormed the castle. Bar models, influencers, gym hotties. Who were you planning on bringing home next? Oh crap, she knew. She knew about the TikTok streams I was showering with gifts, spending her money to watch girls dance and flirting with them. Okay, maybe that was a little over the line. But Wei Tai had the advantage here. Had the looks, the body, and if it came down to it, the strength. No need to back down. I worked up some fake emotion. Have you ever thought about why I did all that? It's been 2 years, Bianca. Do you have any idea what I've been through? Looks, body, sheer class. What woman on earth could ever compare to you? If you hadn't abandoned me, do you think I'd be resorting to greasy dollar slice? Pizza for comfort? I kept ranting, trying to force a single tear out. Bianca looked down, thoughtful, then looked back up with clear eyes. You're right, it's my fault. It's a big shot CEO for you not. Just rich, but generous, too. I stroked my chin. Like some wise old master. To recognize your faults and change, that's the greatest virtue. Let's just call the last 2 years even. We'll never speak of it again. Bianca walked to the kitchen island, grabbed a bottle of wine, and poured herself a glass. At the gym, I thought her looks were unreal, but now, wrapped in just a towel. She looked like she could shave years off my lifespan. Go take a shower, she said firmly. Tonight, you can show me just how strong you are. I licked my dry lips. The promise I'd made to behave flashed through my head. Then it hit me. This was my wife. It forced out 2 words. Wait for me. Bolted to the bathroom. Knocked. Out of 4-in-1 shampoo, shave, shower, and quick pee. My hair was still damp when I came back out, also wrapped in a towel. Bianca handed me a glass of wine. We clinked glasses, downed them in one go, and the temperature in the room rose instantly. Just as lightning was about to strike, a phone rang, cutting through the mood. It wasn't mine. Bianca picked hers up, her brow furrowing. What is it? She asked, annoyed. On the other end, her assistant stammered, Mr. Sterling from the American firm. He's agreed to the partnership. It's a $1 billion investment. Contract needs your approval. I'm busy tomorrow, Bianca said flatly, before she could hang up. I waved frantically, making all kinds of ridiculous faces. Honey, work is important. You should go. Are you sure? She asked. I nodded. Yeah, just think of it as earning my allowance. She looked reluctant, but after another round of my dramatic eye-twitching, she gave in. Standing up, she leaned down and kissed my cheek. I'll finish this as fast as I can. Wait for me. I nodded, fighting the urge to smack her ass as she turned to leave. This was a sophisticated CEO, not one of the girls at the club. But then again, once the lights are off, what's the difference? Still, that was $1 billion. Even if I hustled rich cougars at the club every night, I wouldn't make the interest on that by the time I was 100. Besides, my kidneys wouldn't survive it. The moment Bianca left, my phone rang. No action tonight, huh? The usual spot. Let's go. It was my buddy Leo, and his call put me in a tough spot. I had no choice but to tell him that the gym hottie was actually my wife. Whoa, you didn't even recognize your own wife. Bro, you're a legend. Is she there now? Not interrupting anything, am I? Leo laughed. Suppressing my excitement, I told him she had gone back to the office. So then, see you at the usual spot? I ripped off my towel, threw on some clothes, and headed out. Almost gotten lucky if I didn't blow off some steam. Now, I'd never get to sleep. Just as I got to the club, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Bianca. "Are you asleep?" "I should be home in about 2 hours. Tight schedule, but 2 hours was plenty of time for some fun," I replied. "Can't. Sleep. I'll be waiting for you. All clean and ready." Leo was waiting for me at the entrance to a private room. We partied with 8 models for about an hour. When I stepped out for a breather, I ran into a familiar face. It was Rick, the manager of Arya Linda, triple threat actress, singer, and model. When he saw me, his face lit up. "Ethan, my man. Arya's in the next room. Let me get her. She'd love to have a drink with you." I was about to refuse, checking the time, but Leo threw an arm around my shoulder. "Hell yeah, I'd love to have a drink with a superstar." A few minutes later, Arya Lynn walked in wearing a short skirt. She sat down next to me and poured a drink. "Ethan, this is for you. Thank you for helping me when I was at my lowest." Under her expectant gaze, I drained the glass. 2 years ago. After my wife ditched me on our wedding night, I spent her money all over town. I even invested in a big-budget movie. Arya had fought hard for a supporting role, but got dropped when she refused to play by the industry's rules. Back then, the young, hot-headed me was captivated not just by her beauty, but by her talent. I threw down a fortune to become the primary investor, with one condition: Arya would be the lead. Didn't disappoint. She stunned audiences with her acting, and her career skyrocketed. I'd almost forgotten about it. Seeing her again, I was still struck by her beauty. If it were yesterday, I might have been thinking of making my own rules. But my wife was home now. In terms of looks, Bianca and Arya were equals. But Bianca carried an extra layer of class that won. And since Bianca didn't seem opposed to getting close again, it was a no-brainer. The flower in your own garden is always sweeter than the one in the wild. Otherwise, tonight, one of us would have had to be carried out drunk. Of course. Get your mind out of the gutter. I checked my watch. Less than half an hour left in my 2-hour window. I stood up. "Leo, I'm heading back." He grinned. "All right, man. We'll do it again soon." I turned to Arya to say goodbye. When I told her I was leaving, she stood and offered to walk me out. The moment we stepped out of the private room, I saw a familiar, elegant figure walking toward us. Bianca, her brow tightened slightly as she saw me with Arya. She stopped in her tracks. I turned to Arya. "You should go back inside." "My wife's here." Her eyes widened. "You're married?" I nodded. Her face fell as she looked at Bianca. Then she quietly turned back inside. Bianca walked up to me, tilting her head slightly. "I came to sign the contract. You have to let me explain." Bianca's lips curled into a faint smile, but she stayed quiet. From my experience, I could tell she didn't really have much history with men or relationships. Me, on the other hand, I'd flirted my way through the top 100 beauties on TikTok. Live. Talking my way out of trouble was second nature. I cleared my throat. It's a long story. 2 years ago, I invested in a movie that made her a star. We just ran into each other, and she wanted to thank me with a drink. It was just networking. I couldn't exactly say no, right? Bianca nodded. Of course. By the way, this contract will profit $300 million. It'll be in your account. In a couple of days, my queen, you're incredible. Bianca took my hand and pulled me along. Let's go home. You're about to see something even more incredible. Hey, Ethan, is that your wife? Leo's voice came from behind us just as we were about to leave. I stood between them and pointed to Leo. This is my best friend, Leo. Then I gestured. To Bianca, Leo, this is my wife, Bianca. Leo's eyes widened, impressed. He reached out a hand. A pleasure, Mrs. Thorne. I've heard so much about you. A real powerhouse at such a young age. Honey, let's go home, Bianca said, giving Leo a curt nod before pulling me away. Leo was left hanging with his hand midair. I gave him a little call me later sign as Bianca guided me out, her soft hand wrapped around mine as soon. As we got inside the apartment, I reached for the lights, but Bianca stopped me with her hand. She pulled out her phone and switched it off. This time, no one is going to interrupt us. Seeing her this eager complete 180 from the Ice Queen I'd known 2 years ago, I had to ask. I placed my hands on her shoulders. Wait, why did you say your guru told you to stay celibate for 2 years? Bianca froze for a moment. Moonlight poured through the window, glowing across the floor. She led me to the sofa and sat down. A few years ago, I was in Sedona negotiating a land deal with a local tribe. When I came back, I started having nightmares. Every night, a spiritual advisor told me I'd been cursed. The stronger my desire, the deeper the curse would sink enough to kill me. The only way to break it was to starve it. If I cut off all desire for 2 years, the curse would die. I felt my chest tighten. So what did you do? I avoided men completely, especially the ones I was attracted to. That's why I couldn't share a bed with you. Her words sounded unbelievable, but the world is a strange place. Maybe curses do exist. Bianca's fingers laced with mine. Marrying you was always my plan. I loved you for years. I moved out because I was afraid I couldn't resist you if we stayed under the same roof. My brain short-circuited. Wait, I thought this was just a business merger marriage. Bianca tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. Fell for you first. Then I made the merger happen. It all finally made sense. My family was comfortable, but nowhere near the level of the Thorne dynasty. I always wondered why they wanted MIT couldn't just be because I was strong. I gulped. Bianca gulped too. I watched her tie up her long hair with a black Balenciaga scrunchie, then kick off her heels. By the time dawn broke, the storm had passed. If Bianca hadn't plucked a single red rose from the vase on the coffee table and pressed it into a book, I would never have believed it. The warrior goddess from last night had been a first-timer. For the next 2 weeks, she fully embraced that role. I shuffled into the kitchen one morning, leaning against the wall, watching her try to follow a recipe. Honey, are you sure the hex thing won't come back? I'm sure, she replied, walking over to me. Why? What's wrong? I tried to play it cool. Nothing. Just, we've been eating a lot of heavy meals lately. Maybe something lighter tonight, you know? A vegetarian sleep. Bianca smirked, tilting her head. Tired of me already? After just 2 weeks. And wasn't it you who kept bragging about being so strong? All I could do was press my hands together like I was praying. I was wrong. I surrender. Have mercy, my queen. Bianca cracked her knuckles, a playful smile in her eyes as she walked toward me. The next morning, she left for the office looking radiant, while I didn't manage to roll out of bed until 10:30. My phone rang. It was Leo, Ethan. You're going to the annual Entrepreneurs Gala tomorrow night, right? Of course. It's the husband of one of New York's top young entrepreneurs and a permanent fixture on the Forbes list. I have to be there. Don't. But then Leo added, Dude, have you seen the internet? You're trending. Confused, I opened TikTok. The first video that popped up showed a stunning, long-legged woman dancing, but my back was so sore I barely reacted. I typed my name, Ethan Vance, into the search bar. Instantly, dozens of results appeared. The first video had over 1 million likes. The headline blared, Thorne Group CEO's husband in private club rendezvous with famous actress. I clicked on it. It showed me and Arya Lynn having a drink the other night, but the clip was deliberately edited. It focused on the moment we were smiling and clinking glasses, angled in a way that made it look like we were practically pressed together. The caption claimed Arya Lynn's meteoric rise was thanks to Ethan Vance using my wife's money to boost her career. Now it said it was time for Arya to repay her sugar daddy. The implication was obvious, a sex for fame scandal. Damn it. They were saying out loud what people might only joke about, but the truth was I hadn't done anything. And honestly, I didn't even have the energy. My wife was draining my reserves every single day. Just then, Leo texted me a frowning emoji. He added, I asked the club owner. He said a waiter secretly filmed it and sold it to the paparazzi. The waiter quit a few days ago. It sounded plausible, but something about it felt off. I was about to call him back when Bianca's name lit up my screen. Heart pounding, I answered. Her voice was flat and cold. Where are you? Still at home, I replied honestly. I'm sending the driver to pick you up. When I arrived at her company, the driver escorted me straight into the CEO's office. Bianca was on the phone, gesturing for me to sit. From her tone, it sounded like she was trying to track down that waiter. After a while, she hung up and walked toward me in her heels. I sat up straight, preparing to explain, but she pressed a finger to my lips. "You don't need to explain. I understand. Someone set you up, and when I find out who it is, I'll make them pay." I tried to think. I hadn't offended anyone, at least, not that I knew of. Arya was a celebrity. It was normal for her to have drinks with people. So why was this one moment with me the only one leaked? It felt targeted, but I couldn't figure out by whom. Seeing my troubled expression, Bianca sat on the arm of the sofa and pulled me close. "Do you want to take a nap?" "Ah, I just woke up," I muttered, but her meaningful smile told me she had other plans. She led me into the small bedroom connected to her office. When I finally woke up again, aching all over, it was already dark. My stomach growled. Bianca had ordered an extravagant meal. She smiled, lifting the covers off dishes filled with oysters, asparagus, and other aphrodisiacs, inviting me to eat. I walked to the desk, staring silently at the food. My phone buzzed. It was Leo again. "How's it going? Any leads on your end?" Showed Bianca the message. She pursed her lips. "This Leo guy seems very concerned about you." Shoveling an oyster into my mouth, I gave her a grin. "What's that? Are you jealous?" Bianca snorted. "Please," as if I'd ever be interested in him. Suddenly I remembered Leo hitting on Bianca at the gym. When I mentioned it to her, she said she already knew he was my friend, but he had been watching her for days. At first she thought I had sent him to keep an eye on her, but then Leo actually made a move, asking if she wanted to hang out. When I put our stories together, it was clear Leo hadn't told me the whole truth. Claimed he just wanted fitness tips, but Bianca had shot him down with, "Find your own trainer." Maybe after getting rejected, he thought sending me over would somehow cover his tracks. Bianca lightly tapped the table, pulling me out of my thoughts. "When he hit on me, do you think he knew I was your wife?" she asked. Thinking about it, it seemed obvious now Leo definitely knew. He also knew that my marriage with Bianca was just a convenience, nothing romantic, and he figured he could swoop in and steal her. When that failed, he probably worried she'd tell me, so he tried to twist things by involving me too. What a piece of work. Just then my phone buzzed, non-stop with notifications. It was Leo again, spamming messages. "Did you and your wife fight? You're not getting a divorce, are you? The internet's already speculating about your settlement. Want to grab a drink? Seriously, you're not divorcing, right?" Annoyed, I shot back one quick reply, "Not getting divorced." The night of the entrepreneurs gala finally arrived. Bianca, stunning in a custom evening gown, walked in on my arm. Our appearance together immediately killed all the rumors of a divorce. Since she was one of the most important guests, business partners swarmed her instantly. I was happy to be left alone, free to wander and enjoy the food. That's when I bumped into Leo. He held 2 glasses of red wine and handed me one. "Ethan cutting it close, huh?" he said. I gave a helpless smile. You know how it is. I showed up too early. I'd be mobbed. We clinked glasses, and suddenly Leo leaned in. "Oh, right. I just saw Arya Lynn. She said she has something important to discuss with you. She's waiting in the dressing room." Pointed down the hall. I took a sip of wine and headed there. Pushing the door open, I noticed how quiet it was inside. Walking further, I saw Arya alone. Her face was flushed, her brow furrowed in discomfort. I set my glass on a table and reached out. "Arya, are you okay?" I touched her forehead. She was burning up. She looked up at me, fire in her eyes. "You, how did you know I was here?" "Didn't you ask me to come?" Her surprise mirrored mine. "Who told you that?" I asked, and then it clicked for both of us. Click. The door locked from the outside. Someone was setting us up. I rushed to the door, but it wouldn't budge. "Was it your buddy Leo who sent you here?" Arya asked. Told her I had run into him earlier. Said she was looking for me, and even handed me a glass of wine. Her eyes shifted to the glass I had just set down. I only had a tiny sip, I explained quickly. I just feel a little warm, but I thought it was because the room was stuffy. That's good, she muttered. I think he drugged the wine. I didn't need more of an explanation. I instantly understood. Arya struggled in her chair, trying to speak, but the words wouldn't come out. And then suddenly, the lights went out. I grabbed my phone to call Bianca, but there was no signal.
It was being jammed.
Outside, I could faintly hear the host's voice announcing the start of the gala. So this was Leo's plan to trap me, make Bianca misunderstand, and push me out of the picture. Did he really believe she'd choose him afterward? Thankfully, I'd barely touched the wine. If I had, things would have been disastrous. Two drugged people locked in a room together. Even if I had been fully aware, resisting would have been difficult. Under the influence, I'd be worse than an animal. The dressing room was small. Arya and I sat at opposite ends, each in our own chair. Minutes passed before I heard her chair scrape against the floor. Her breathing grew heavier. Are you okay? I asked, worried. Someone will notice we're missing soon. They'll come for us. Her voice was hoarse. I have claustrophobia. I'm scared. That was bad. People with claustrophobia could panic in a dark, enclosed space, shortness of breath, a racing heartbeat, even passing out. It could be dangerous, but I couldn't go to her side. If I did, she might lose control, and that would make things worse. I wasn't blind. I knew she had feelings for me. Thinking quickly, I tried something else. Arya, how about I sing for you? Without waiting for her reply, I pulled out my phone, played the instrumental for Hallelujah, and started to sing. Years of karaoke had made it one of my go-to songs. As the music filled the room, I poured real emotion into the lyrics, remembering my chaotic nights drifting from one club to another. By the second verse, I lost myself in the performance. The acoustics in the small room were surprisingly good, making me feel like I could actually win a competition. I sang a few more songs, keeping her calm. Until finally, after about 20 minutes, I heard voices outside. Then Bianca's voice, sharp and commanding. Break the door down. The heavy door burst open, and the lights flickered back to life. Bianca rushed in, her eyes scanning me from head to toe. She only relaxed once she saw I was unharmed. Arya struggled to her feet. Ms. Thorne, Ethan and I were innocent. Bianca glanced at her coldly. I trust my husband. You should be grateful you made the right choice. Arya, experienced in the industry, understood the jealousy and warning behind Bianca's words. She gave me a complicated look and said softly, Ethan is my benefactor. I only feel gratitude toward him, nothing else. That's for the best, Bianca said firmly, then slipped her hand into mine and led me out. As we walked, I grabbed the wine glass from the table and handed it to her. I think Leo drugged this. We should get it tested. The crowd had gathered. Outside, whispering and staring, pushing through them, my eyes found Leo standing at the back. Watching, he saw me, in a perfectly fine suit, walking out with Bianca. His face dropped, eyes full of disbelief. He quickly looked down, trying to slip away, but Bianca's bodyguards blocked him. I walked right up to him. Leo forced a smile. Ethan, done talking with Arya? I was just about to come find you for another drink. One of the bodyguards pulled out a tablet, hit play, and showed him the security footage. Mr. Zhang, why did you lock the dressing room door? The guard asked sternly. So that's how Bianca found you. She checked the cameras, saw me enter the room, then saw Leo lock the door behind me. Leo stared at the screen, stunned. He knew he couldn't talk his way out this time, so he stayed silent. Bianca's brow furrowed, her voice like ice. Leo, my people investigated. You were the one who paid the waiter at the club too secretly. Film that video and sell it to the paparazzi. Leo hung his head, thinking. Then he suddenly rushed over, grabbing my arm. Ethan, you've got it all wrong. You told me you had no feelings for your wife and wanted to chase Arya Lynn. I was just creating a scandal so you'd have a reason to divorce her. And then I set up this chance for you and Arya to be together. That way, you could be with her legitimately. His story sounded polished on the surface, but anyone who thought for even a second could see the holes. I shook my head, disappointed. Leo, I thought you were my friend. The stuff about Arya was just me joking around. I used to joke about wanting 18 model girlfriends too. I gave a nod to the bodyguards. They grabbed Leo, forced his mouth open, and I poured the rest of the drugged wine down his throat. Then we tossed him outside. After that mess, I sat in the audience and watched Bianca accept the Entrepreneur of the Year award. Seeing her shine on stage, her breathtaking face, her elegant and noble presence, her flawless figure, I had a new thought. Maybe I was the one who had cast a spell on her. Why else would she fall for me? Near the end of the gala, Arya Lynn came on stage as a special guest. After what happened earlier, I thought she'd back out, blame her health, but no, she still chose to perform. The stage lights dimmed, leaving only a single spotlight on her. In a knee-length dress, she sat at the piano and began to sing while playing. It was her breakout hit, Light in the Darkness. The opening a cappella was as ethereal as a nightingale song. Then the music swelled, blending piano, rhythm, and her incredible voice into a powerful crescendo. The business leaders in the audience nodded in approval. No wonder tycoons would spend fortunes supporting entire art troupes. As I listened, my thoughts wandered. History had its pioneers, and because of them, here we were able to witness such rare beauty and talent shining in New York. My eyes drifted, though, and I thought I saw a faint trickle of red seeping through the fabric on Arya's shoulder. The dim stage lights made me doubt myself, but the image stuck. When the song ended and the crowd began to thin, Bianca pulled me toward the exit. In the elevator, we ran into Arya and her assistant. I noticed the assistant pressing a handkerchief to Arya's shoulder, the faint bloodstain visible. I knew then I hadn't imagined it. "How did you get hurt?" I asked without thinking. Arya didn't say anything, but her assistant spoke up. Arya did it to herself just now. She said she needed to stay clear-headed so she could sing for. "You don't talk nonsense," Arya cut her off quickly. "I'm fine. I just pricked myself by accident." She gave Bianca a cautious look. "The main thing is, if I didn't sing, I'd have to pay a penalty for breaking the contract. I'll just go to the hospital and get it bandaged." When we reached the ground floor, Bianca and I instinctively stepped aside, letting Arya and her assistant leave first. As Arya walked out, she glanced back at me for a moment, then quickly looked away, staring instead at the drop of blood on the floor. That's when it hit. No wonder she could still perform on stage after being drugged. She used pain to stay lucid. Bianca nodded. I have to admit, she's a fighter. Looks, figure, resilience, talent with instruments, a beautiful voice. A great dancer, she has it all. It's only a matter of time before she conquers the music industry. Back home, Bianca thoughtfully ran a bath for me, scattering rose petals across the water. The moment I sank into the tub, she scooped up a few petals. "You feel sorry for her, don't you? She was willing to hurt herself just to sing for you." I stared at Bianca, baffled. "What are you talking about? There's nothing going on between us." Bianca shook her head in exasperation. "They say I'm the clueless one. You didn't notice a single thing about my feelings for you." Her words confused me even more. "What? I don't get it. Are we talking about one thing or two different things?" She dropped the petals back into the water and slowly explained. "That hit song of hers. Those company execs might not know it well, but I've heard it a million times. She changed one of the lyrics today. The original line is, 'I want to be your light in the darkness.' But today she sang, 'You are the light I can never catch.' And she looked right at you." When she sang it, I blinked in surprise. She did. How come I didn't notice? Bianca pinched my arm, "'Cause you were too busy staring at her legs. In the dressing room, you sang for her, and she came out and sang for you. A perfect match wouldn't. You say, I was toast." Bianca was finally making me pay for my past sins. In front of others, she gave me face and trusted me completely. But behind closed doors, she wasn't letting a single drop of jealousy slip away, feeling guilty. I started scrubbing myself just to avoid her gaze. Don't be ridiculous. She was singing for everyone. She sang well, maybe some big shot would invest in her? Bianca rolled her eyes. And in the elevator, didn't you see the way she looked at you? It was so complicated. Unrequited love, resentment, restraint, deep affection. As a woman, even I couldn't handle it. You. Heartbreaker didn't notice a thing. Damn. Who said men can't lose an argument with a woman? When a woman lays out her logic and reasoning, it's flawless or tight. I thought about the special exercises I'd been practicing lately to build up stamina. I decided it was time for a command performance. What followed was a silent dive into deep waters, only to re-emerge, riding the waves like a dragon. I woke up around noon the next day. Bianca had breakfast ready. As I sat down, she smiled. "Your good buddy Leo after drinking that stuff last night. He found some woman and went to a hotel, only to get caught by her husband. I heard the husband has connections on both sides of the law. He gave Leo the choices: get neutered or spend some quality time with a few of his boys." I grimaced and held up my hand to stop her from saying more, not wanting to ruin my appetite. As I ate the breakfast she lovingly prepared, Bianca suddenly asked, "Honey, you're not going to get involved with women, gambling, or drugs in the future, right?" I was thrilled she changed the subject herself. "I swear, for the rest of my life, I'll fight gambling and drugs to the death. And women, I, Mr. Johnson, swear for the rest of my life, I'll fight gambling and drugs to the death. Last name is Vance." Bianca grit her teeth. "I, Mr. Vance, swear that for the rest of my life I'll fight gambling and drugs to the death." She smacked the back of my hand. "You left out women again." I quickly raised my hand. "As God is my witness, I, Ethan Vance, is that the God you're swearing to?" "I, Ethan Vance, as a red-blooded American man, swear," Bianca locked me in a playful headlock. "I'll give you red-blooded American. You red-blooded American."